Hi, welcome. My name is Abby. Today we're going to see how long it takes me to knit a sock. There are many different sizes and types of socks, so to be specific, I'm going to be knitting a large stockinette sock. I have a skein from my stash that I have been saving for this occasion because I am knitting a pair of socks for my boyfriend for Christmas. He picked this skein out a while ago. It's from the dyer Blue Savannah, and it has pinks, purples, oranges, greens. It's a really unique looking skein. I'm predicting that it's going to knit up in micro stripes, but we'll see. It might be more variegated, and I think it's going to look great either way. A few years ago, I started a sort of tradition where I make him something each year for Christmas that isn't like a full-blown sweater. So in 2021, I made him this hat. In 2022, I knit him this pair of socks. Last year, I knit him these mitts because he requested some mitts. Over the summer, I made him another pair of socks. Can you tell that his favorite color is green? I'm trying to make sure I knit him more than one pair a year, so this was his mid-year socks. And as I'm sure you've noticed, both of these pairs have black heels and toes. So I think that's what I'm going to do again for this new pair. I need to make sure I put all of those back exactly where they were so that he doesn't suspect anything. So here's my little knitting basket. I've got my contrast color ready to go. Now I'm going to go wind up this skein, and I'm gonna split it in half so that each skein can be one sock. And I also want to mention that I'm only going to be making one sock in this video, and if you want to know how long it takes to make a pair, just double the time. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you alone to watch me knit at 5,000 times speed. I'm going to keep you entertained. A few years ago, Emtothethird made this exact type of video, and ever since I saw that, I wanted to make my own, in part just to see actually how long it takes me to knit, but I also think it's fun to watch somebody knit super fast because it's such a slow process. I just think it's funny to watch me knit this toe up in about a minute when in reality it took me 48 minutes. The pattern that I'm using is a free pattern from Ravelry. It's called Brenda's Basic Toe Up Socks. What I like about it is that it's a traditional heel flap and gusset, but knit from the toe up, which is a little tricky to reverse that in your head, so it's nice to have a pattern to reference. And I like that I can start with the toe, knit the foot, and then once I'm on the leg, I can just knit with as much yarn as I have to make them as long as they can be. So I'm getting started with the main color a little under an hour in. So how is your holiday knitting, crafting going so far? Let me know in the comments what you're working on. I have been spending the past few days rounding up all of my knits from the whole year, and I've been working in my spreadsheets, not just for knitting, but I have quite a few different things that I track at the end of the year. So I've been working on that, but also on the crafting side. I have a spreadsheet that I will talk about in some upcoming videos when I go through what I made this year. All right, so that was day one, clocking in at almost an hour and 17 minutes. Now we are starting with day two, and at this point, I'm just working around and around. I'm working with a different type of needle than I typically use. I'm usually a ChiaoGoo girl all the way, but for these, I'm using the Addy Rocket Square needles, which have some extra texture. They're like more in the shape of a rectangle than round, like your typical needle. And I think the idea is that they're more ergonomic to work with, and they also grip your stitches a little bit more. This is, I think, the third or fourth pair that I've knit with them, and when I first used them, I did see a slight improvement. I felt like my hands were not quite as sore at the end of like a knitting session. I don't have any scientific evidence to back that up. This time around, to be honest, I didn't notice too much of a difference. I think I do prefer my ChiaoGus in the end because they are smoother and a little sharper. And with the Addies, I do notice the transition between the needle and the cord. And my stitches will tend to get caught on that, so it's a little more annoying to work with them. While I was knitting these, I was watching the Netflix show Black Doves, which is a British spy show. It's set during Christmas, so it was fun to watch leading up to Christmas. It stars Keira Knightley, which is the only reason that I was watching it, to be honest. I didn't know anything else about it. I just saw that she was in it. She plays a character who is a wife and a mom and has like a whole home life while also being an undercover spy. It also stars Ben Whishaw, who was the voice of Paddington Bear. And in this show, he is an assassin and he plays it really well. I didn't know who he was. I've never seen Paddington, but maybe I need to watch it now. It was a really fun show. It's dramatic, it's over the top, it's kind of silly at points, but it's very entertaining. It's really well acted, and I think there's going to be a season 2, so that's exciting. You can see me working in real time there, much slower. So day 3, we're a little over 3 hours, and I think I'm about halfway on the foot. So I've got a good hour and a half, 2 hours or so to go. This clip is really short because I had like 25 minutes in between work and going to an event. Honestly, the biggest challenge in filming this was just finding like a good hour to 2 hours of uninterrupted time where I could just knit. I didn't quite realize how often I will like stop knitting to like respond to a text or to go move over my laundry or get dinner started or like something that I'm doing. So for my boyfriend, I typically knit him 68 stitch socks on like a 0 or a 1. This pair, I accidentally knit 64 stitches. I had 64 in my head and assumed that that was right. And now I'm curious how much time I saved by not knitting those 4 extra stitches around and around. Over Black Friday, I bought something that I've been wanting to buy for probably 5 years now, which is a really nice desk chair. I've been working from home since COVID. My chair was fine. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't doing it for me. And I'm getting older. I'm in my late 20s now, and I just knew it was time. I have been doing the research on desk chairs for years now. I have been trying to find each of them in person so that I can sit in them. I've been trying to find a secondhand chair because they are very expensive. It's been years and I still did not have a nice chair. So this Black Friday, I finally decided I was going to buy a Steelcase Leap, and it's amazing. It's the one that I'm sitting in this video. I love it so much. I was able to get it on sale, which is nice. It was still expensive. And, I'm going to tell you what everyone else tells you when they buy something like this for themselves. Like, it really is worth it. especially for my lower back. That's where I was really having pain, which I like to run. So it's kind of weird that I was starting to get this back pain. But actually, when I was working on my traveler hoodie, I was sitting for hours. And I normally sit because I work an office job, but like I was sitting at a desk just going. I was just going. I was knitting. And that did put quite a bit of strain on my lower back. So that's where I was really feeling it. This new chair, the lumbar support is amazing. It's so adjustable. The one thing that I have noticed while I was knitting this sock is that my upper back and like my shoulders are starting to feel a bit more pain. And I think I've kind of transferred the strain of keeping myself upright as a human being in the modern world. I've transferred that to my shoulders as I'm sitting in my chair. Like it's just not as supportive to my upper back. So I have to rely on my own posture and my own muscles. The chair is not helping me much with that part, but everywhere else it is great. It's so good. I'm just telling you, if you've been waiting for a sign to buy something for yourself that you need that's going to help you, this is your sign. I'm not normally a sentimental gift person. I tend to go for the more practical gifts, and I don't gift knit very often. But there's something about making something for the person you love, spending a lot of time and effort on it, that I just really enjoy. I really like that I have this tradition. I want to keep it up each year. Like nothing about this felt like an obligation to me. It just was something that I wanted to work on. Oh, and by the way, here is where I'm at the end of day 5. So I'm starting day 6 at just over 7 hours. That's a lot of knitting so far. Like I said, I don't tend to be a gift knitter. There's been a few Christmases where I have knit gifts, and by the end of it, I just wasn't really excited by them. It did feel like an obligation. I have since shifted my mindset where if I don't want to make something for someone, I don't. And it's honestly so nice. And it's easier for me now because the people in my life don't tend to expect me to make them things. I've sort of set that precedent. So when they do get something, it's just a nice little surprise, and it's something that I feel really good about. But yeah, that's just my take on everything. I know there's a lot of gift knitters out there who are awesome. You're really cool for spending that time to make things for the people in your life. There's just something so special about a handmade gift, and I think that's why a lot of us do knit gifts, and that's like where that comes from, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But all of that to say, I knit gifts sparingly, and I'm really happy about that. Okay, I'm going to stop being sappy because that is not allowed on this channel. I think this is the point that I started the bind off. That cuff took so long, and now I'm weaving in all the ends. I've gotten really good at finishing a sock and then immediately weaving in the ends. All right, here's the final time. 8 hours, 35 minutes, and 52 seconds to knit this sock. So to knit the pair, that would be 17 hours, 11 minutes, and 44 seconds. That's a lot of time. I hope you have a great holiday or a great day off, and I'll see you in the next one.